Next, insurance for your job doesn't move with you. Finally, our whole life insurance can guarantee cash for the future. Remember, life insurance isn't just about you, it's also about protecting your loved ones. Call BFNM on 295-5566 today. The sooner you call, the sooner you and your family can benefit.
Alrighty. It's now time for Inside Sports Talk Radio with host Ian Rollins and co-host Earl Baisden, brought to you by the Lindos Group of Companies, Colonial Group International, Global Atlantic Financial Group, Game Time, and Fit for Life with Dave Wolf. Now let's go live with Ian Rollins and Earl Baisden.
And good afternoon and welcome to Inside Sports Talk Radio on this Monday. It is March the 12th. I'm Ian Rollins along with Earl Baisden. Good afternoon to you, Sir Earl.
Good afternoon, Mr. Rollins. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. All is good?
All is well.
How was your weekend?
Lovely. Busy, but lovely.
Lovely.
Yes.
Lovely indeed.
How was yours?
It was great. It was quiet and peaceful. Working on the weekend, but it worked out well. But that's part of the business.
Right.
It's all good.
Yeah.
We got Roddy gun at the controls today.
Is there only one legal gun in Bermuda?
That's a good
So
one.
they tell me. So they tell me. Pleasant day, gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
Good day to you. So if there's only one legal gun in Bermuda, does Trump know that? Or 45?
He ain't coming this way.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about it.
All right. 'Cause I know you take care of it.
He's busy occupied building that wall.
He didn't catch on when he said it.
Don't admit to nothing.
My lawyer said not to talk.
That's right.
Understood,
That's
sir.
right.
Understood.
Yeah.
That's all good. Welcome back, sir.
Thanks,
Welcome back.
Yes.
So today we have on Inside Sports Talk Radio, we have Kenny Thompson, his every other week sports segment on football. He'll be joining us. Vicky Abraham on the upcoming ITU is just a couple of weeks away. Her special guest will be Aaron Smith. I think he's the chairman of the ITU. And we have Jacon Edness and Norbert Simons, two renowned gentlemen in the sports figure in Bermuda. And from the administrative side, as the annual sports awards will be held this coming Saturday at the Fairmont, Southampton.
That is correct.
All right, and we will know who our athlete of the year is, which will be no surprise for like the third or fourth year running.
Tell you before, you're not sure.
You told me before. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I said it would be no surprise.
How you know?
So I won't be surprised.
Okay. I guess we'll boil you for a good conversation on Monday then.
Yeah, surprises do happen there.
Well, yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
I want to take this time and congratulate the Man United fans as Man
Game
United
Saturday.
beat Liverpool, my
Right.
beloved Liverpool team, 2-1. And there was two contrasting halves, but that's a part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And bottom line is the ball wasn't scored in the back of the net by Liverpool. I'm not looking for any excuses. I was talking to some Man United fans this morning, and they felt that there was two penalties should not have been awarded. They agree with the referee. And my reply to that is, well, when you win, you'll say that.
Mm.
Yeah. So I said,
So there were two shouts that were turned on.
yeah. But I didn't make no fuss. So I just said, you know what, leave it alone. Because I knew what they're going to say. And so I
Right.
said, so done, right?
Right.
You know, they didn't even have the decency to say, well, you know, there should have been a penalty. It should have been a penalty, but no, it wasn't. You know, it should have been a penalty, but I walked away with 3 points. They didn't say that. They said, no, there shouldn't have been no penalty.
Right.
Like, oh, okay, cool.
So where does that leave Liverpool?
We dropped to fourth because Tottenham won yesterday.
Oh.
Right?
Oh.
Yeah, we dropped to fourth.
Okay.
So I think it's 9 or 8 games remaining, and so it should be an interesting season as it comes down to a wire, and we just need to make the top 4.
How far are you ahead of the 5th place team?
I think it's 5 points,
Oh, okay.
which is still not much, but
It's not much, but in football sense,
It
you've
is.
got a cushion.
yeah, nah,
Because you could lose one and still not lose 4th place.
yeah, we can't lose it all.
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
okay.
It's all good though. It's
Yeah.
all good. I think I said it's 9 or 8 games remaining, so we'll.
Well, your Liverpool team would have disappointed you early on Saturday, but your local team would have surprised you later on Saturday.
Was I right? Was that? I don't have glasses. Do I need glasses? What was the score again?
6-3 to Somerset.
And who was it again? 'Cause I was like,
Devonshire Cougars.
what? Say,
That game was a seesaw battle right from the start. Somerset took an early lead,
right.
ran up 2-0. Cougars scored just before the half. I would say 5 minutes to the second half, they got a penalty. They hit the crossbar, then they scored. made it 2-2. Cougar scored again, made it 3-2. And then for 15 minutes to go, Somerset scored 4 goals. And 3 of those goals came in stoppage time.
They had goals in 15 minutes.
Yeah, they had through injuries and stalling tactics. The referee made note of those things and added on about 10 minutes.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So these are 4 goals in 15 minutes. A goal every 3 minutes and 30 seconds.
Well, let's put it like this.
In
the 90th minute, it was 3-0.
Mercy.
The 91st, it was 4-3. 97th was 5-3, and 98th was 6-3.
So that solidifies them, making sure that they don't drop, pretty much.
No.
Still in the cellar.
Yeah. Well, they're in
Borderline.
8th place. They're in 8th place. They're 6 points ahead of Flanagan's, who won yesterday to keep it in. If Flanagan's would have gotten anything but a win yesterday, they would have been relegated. But so that wasn't the surprise of the weekend. Social Club was leading 3-0
against PAC, right?
At Denton.
And Denton just turned it on after that.
Second half, 7 goals. That game was held up. 3 players were taken to the hospital for various injuries. So that game actually ended about 5:30.
I think daylight saving time came.
Well, yeah.
Wow.
A marathon match.
Wow, 7 goals.
So that, if you look at those 2 games, that was 19 goals in 2 games.
And in Dennytown's case, mathematically, that's a goal every 6.5 minutes.
If you divide it in 45,
right? 7 6 is 42. So 6 and 35, something like that.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Can't stop the run.
Wow.
And then, of course, down at Lord's, PHC were leading 4-0 at halftime. I'm pretty sure their fans would have thought, okay, we're going to go for double digits, but no goals in the second half. So that ended 4-0. And then, if you look at it, the first division is very interesting as well.
Yep.
You have BAA leading, Paget are in second, Rangers in third. Those 3 teams won, but it's going to come down to, there's 2 league games left. Right. I know for Kenny and BAA, they're kind of in the driver's seat right now, because when you're leading, all the pressure's on everyone else to try and catch you. So with 2 games left, one of those games, BAA has to play Southampton Rangers, which is their last game of the season. Paget will travel to, I believe, Malabar. Or no, they're home to Island Rangers, their last game of the season. So next week's games, or the next round of games, will be very interesting to see what the outcome is for those particular games.
So who's Flanagan's next game against?
To tell you the truth, I'm not sure.
Okay. That'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. I think they still do have to play Somerset.
Okay.
Yeah.
That will be
and because the goal difference, if they do still have to play Somerset, the goal difference doubles.
Yeah.
So one team will come down with goals and the other team will go up by that amount of goals. So the goal difference right now is in Somerset's favor. So even if they lose 2 games and Flanagan's win 2 games, Flanagan's have to win big to overtake them on goal difference. So, but mathematically, they're still in it until the next round. So obviously, Social Club have been relegated. The Premier Division title is still up for grabs. PHC are leading by 3 points over Robin Hood, who are the defending champions. And ironically,
Robin Hood.
Hopefully, the weather eases up today to allow Somerset to be prepared for tomorrow night, because we have the FA Challenge Cup semi-finals tomorrow night.
In Somerset.
In Somerset, we're a first division team. We'll make it to the final.
First time it's happened in a long time.
And we then have PHC and Robin Hood in the other
semi-final.
Yeah,
cool. Well, also we will be bringing on our sports trivia, weekly sports trivia question of the week, and that will be coming up in about another 20 minutes or so. Just before 1:45, we will have our weekly sports trivia question. I'm sure I let Mr. Bass pick out the trivia question this week, so I will leave it like that. Just give us a call at 292-9595, and you have an answer for the trivia question. We're going to take a commercial break right now, and we'll be back after this.
Talk Radio has been presented to you by Lindo's Group of Companies, Colonial Group International, Global Atlantic Financial Group, Game Time, and Fit for Life with Dave Wolf. We'll return after the break.
You have a
Importance of fruit juice cannot
you have a bumper for the trivia and stuff too. Right?
Yeah, it's he didn't he put any paper for you?
No, I can find it.
Okay, you must have forgotten.
It's got all the other ones.
All right. Yeah, I'll come back. When we come on the break, I'll talk about West Ham. You said you players going onto the field. I meant to call Clyde Best and kind of call in to an interview, right? But I got so tired up this
All your
morning.
sports betting needs without the road trip. Introducing Game Time East and Game Time West. Located next to Wahoos and St. George's and Main Road, Somerset by Somerset Cricket Club. All Game Time outlets open Monday to Friday 12 to 6, Saturdays 8:30 till 5, and Sundays 10 till 5. For more details, visit GameTime.pm or call 296-3222. Game Time. We play, we pay. Game Time is a socially responsible gaming establishment.
Premier Health is a smart health insurance plan that does most of the thinking for you.
With online verification, eligibility, and direct billing.
7 out of 10 claims are now received electronically,
6 out of 10 claims are settled automatically.
leaving you more time to focus on the choice of care you
From
deserve.
upstairs.
Premier Health. Smart health insurance feels good.
Call Colonial on 296-3200.
Or visit cgigroup.com.
Now, back to Inside Sports Talk Radio. Inside Sports Talk Radio on Power 95 FM with host Ian Rollins and co-host.
And welcome back to Inside Sports Talk Radio. Just still in the English Premier League. Did you have a chance to see the experience what West Ham United players went through this past weekend?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah?
I did.
Say it.
It's a sign of times, but it's not the first time that spectators have shown their disapproval for how things are going at a club. Most of the time they wait until the end of the match.
Yeah.
But when you see fans running on the field, taking up the corner flags to put it down in the middle of the field, there's other ways to make a statement, and I guess they took that way, which kind of puts the club in a very dangerous position, only because the FA, they'll receive a hefty fine,
Right.
and it just puts the season hasn't gone the way they would have wanted it to.
Right.
And that kind of just makes it a little worse. I don't know what they're expecting the owners to do.
You remember the owner? He had to be escorted out
Yes,
of the
yes.
private sector.
Yeah, I mean, what do they want? Other players? Do they want? It's different.
One report said that the fans are not happy because ever since he moved into the Olympic Stadium, they have not had the sort of warm welcome where the players and the fans can feel the vibe during the game, because remember,
they're so far away.
Far away because of the logistics being a track in the middle. And you and I recall you and I talking about this last year when year before West Ham made the move to the new stadium, that this is going to be a factor.
They're going to struggle because most of the clubs that have fans that sit right on top of the field have built that vibe with the spectators, and that's what they had. But now there's a track, there's a big gap, they just don't feel as if they're part of the game, and I'm pretty sure the players are feeling some way about being so far away from the spectators as well.
And you and I both know. Imagine the football field, right? And you got the track, the 400-meter track. So you got the football field there, and you got to cross the track, and then cross on some green, then to get to the fans. A football pitch is not designed like that.
No,
right?
They're for events, not for matches.
It's not, but you got to bear in mind. I think West Ham took the deal because they didn't have to build a stadium, right?
Right.
So you look at the cost factor, but what they should have done was can they? Well, they couldn't say that. I was going to say the redesign or make some amendments to the plan, but you can't do that because it's given to them.
Right.
I'm sure that was probably.
And the other problem was that they really had to move out of the stadium they were at. That they outgrown that.
Yeah.
They couldn't do anything with it only because it's built right smack dead in the middle of the area, and what more they made all the improvements they could possibly make with it.
Right.
So
obviously it lasted its wear and tear. Its time was time to move on.
Yeah.
And so now.
But it'd been interesting to hear from from Clyde, obviously.
Yeah.
He went through some turmoil times
Back in the 60s.
back in the day when he played, and you know, one thing about English football, when people come up in an area, they support that club through and through. Even if they don't go to the games, they're looking out for what their club's doing and so forth. But you have some passionate fans, you know, and they feel as if they're paying their hard-earned money to come and watch the players play, and they want to be a part of it. So,
and you're right, and that's what English football fans do, is that they're passionate, not just in the Premier Division, but the First Division, right? And so it shows, because of the demonstrations that happened this past weekend, that they're by any means doing it necessary for whatever they want to do it for, whatever the protest is. But they have to look at things that make sense. Is that going to help them going forward? Is that going to be a result for them to get 3 points?
Yeah. I mean, even the players showed their frustration. You saw the captain grab hold of one fan, tackle him, and so forth.
Mark Noble.
Yeah. You know, that's pure frustration, because they're out there trying to do the best they can.
Yeah.
It's not working right now. You know, they've had the ups and downs. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see how everybody responds the next game. So, you know, see.
You're right. You're right. And who's the next game? Because I don't have my phone.
I'm not 100% sure.
But I know they're close to fighting relegation.
Yeah, there are 6. What are they? They got
6 points from the bottom.
6 points from the relegation. Yeah.
So, wow. You see what? It'd be nice to get a feedback from the great Clyde Best on what's going through the turmoil right now at West Ham, and will they survive the plunge? You know? Right. I'm sure they will, but you know, overall they're tired of going through this process.
Right.
You know, they're tired of making these changes and stuff like that.
Yeah. You know, the problem is when you're that small, it's very hard to make changes unless you get a return. You know, so you look at what Chelsea's been able to do, what others have been able to do with a little bit of money. Actually, they are 3 points from 18th place. They have 30, West Ham.
Wow.
Southampton, they're 16th. Southampton have 28. They're in 17th. Crystal Palace have 27, along with Stoke. That's 18th, 19th, and West Brom has 20. So, but the funny thing is, Ian, if West Ham in the next game, they could go from 16th to 12th.
That's a huge climb.
Yeah.
That's a huge climb. I don't know who's the next game. So.
Let's see if I click on them. Let's see if it does show me the next fixtures. Matches coming up. If we can get a signal.
Wow.
Next match, Manchester United.
Oh, West Ham, Manchester United? At where?
Actually, seeing it's postponed.
Oh, it's postponed, yeah, to be determined.
So their next game will be week after next. And they will play Southampton at home. Yeah. Southampton, Chelsea, Stoke. So 2 teams in the next 3 games are beneath them. And then they go to the unpredictable Arsenal. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So the next 2 games is not easy.
No.
Not easy, mate. That's not gonna be easy for them.
Yeah.
So we wish them all the best, and I'm sure Clyde Best is doing a little Indian dance right now to make sure that they stay alive. You know, you can always give us your comment, Mr. Best. I know you're a die-hard West Ham fan.
Well, the good thing is, you know, whether that team takes the plunge or stays up, you're going to see the passion,
right?
Both from players and spectators. So, you know,
it's going to be interesting.
Right.
It's going to be interesting. So, what stories you working on tonight? Because I know you got a new event coming out tonight on ZFB TV 7.
Yes.
Let our listeners know that at 7:58 tonight and every night, Earl Basin will have a sports update on ZFB TV 7. It's a 90-minute segment, and it's going to be something new that he's been working on behind the scenes. And we'll launch it tonight on ZFB TV 7 right after the ABC News. Any secrets you'd like to share with us?
No.
Just tune in.
Tune in. That's what you gotta do.
Just tune in.
No.
Okay.
Sometimes if you give things away, people don't tend to not want to watch. So
But
Yeah.
you got all these sports. Everybody wants to watch your sports,
Everybody's interested in sports.
right? And you
Yeah.
have the information,
Well, I try to get it.
right? And so therefore, people need to tune in at 7:58.
Yeah.
Right after the ABC News. It's called Sports Update with Earl Based, and
Mm-hmm.
take a look at it tonight, folks. Monday through Friday. It's a new segment, and it's 90 seconds. We're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be back after this.
Has been presented to you by Lindo's Group of Companies, Colonial Group International, Global
Okay.
Atlantic Financial
My phone's upstairs, so
and
Sure.
Dave Wolf. We'll return after the
And if they are, then
Cool.
Calling all players.
Yeah.
What time is it? It's game time. Fun and dependable sports betting on NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, golf, horses, English Premier League, and more. Weekly promotions, instant win games. Be a lucky loser with our weekly draw. Become a game time player. Call into one of our 3 locations in Somerset, Town, or St. George's. For more details, visit gametime.bm or call 296-3222. Game Time. You play, we pay. Game Time is a socially responsible gaming establishment.
From happy beginnings to happy ever after.
Colonial protects your lifestyle with the best insurance cover at the best possible price.
Health insurance with far-reaching benefits.
What's happening, buddy?
50% of claims settled automatically.
You might have to get another promo ready because it's still out there.
Security in retirement.
With a custodian pension plan.
For happy beginnings and a happy ever after.
Visit cgigroup.com or call
Yeah.
296.
Hey, man, right now, just
Where people come
kind of like, just maintaining the health,
That's good.
Convenience and sheer deliciousness. Ask anyone raising children. Lakewood Juice Company, a family
Yeah,
business,
that stands out
bottling the diverse
front,
line of pure organic and premium juices since 1935. Lakewood fresh pressed juices provide antioxidants, dietary fiber,
You want to
vitamins,
go another promo, or?
Now we can come back.
We can come back. We can come back. Oh, go trivia question. You got the trivia intro, did? Sports trivia intro? Okay, stand by for it. Just come back to us first.
Now, back to Inside Sports Talk Radio.
Get ready. You get the intro?
Yeah.
Go hit the intro. Hit the intro first.
This weekly segment of the Sports Trivia has been brought to you by 4-Star Pizza, A.S. Cooper, and Sun Limited, Port Nuts, Bermuda, and Sports Source.
And welcome back to Inside Sports Talk Radio. We're going to give out the trivia question for the day. And it's going to be, the sponsors today are
4-Star Pizza. Thank you.
4-Star Pizza.
Thank you. I froze there. I froze. Yes, it's 4-Star Pizza today.
And the question is, athletics or track and field in Bermuda became the first offshore affiliate of the Amateur Athletic Association of England in what year?
Wow.
Okay. Athletics
Uh-huh.
or track and field in Bermuda became the first offshore affiliate of the Amateur Athletics Association of England in what year?
Boy. Give us a call at 292-9595. I don't even know that answer. Oh my God. I gotta cheat. I gotta look in the answer.
I thought I'll pick this only because the Bermuda Carifta Games team is being announced today.
As we speak.
Yeah, so I know we have quite a few people that are interested in track and field and athletics.
Yeah.
And it'll be nice to know when we became an affiliate of the AAAE, which is the Amateur Athletics Association of England. So,
Okay, give us a call at 292-9595. Just want to let you know Mr. Baisden picked that one up, not Mr. Rollins. Mr. Baisden picked it up.
they're going to have to Google deep on this one.
That's a deep one, mate.
They have to Google deep on this one.
You know, I think we've done 1, 2, 3, I think 8 trivia questions. And I think of the 8, 6 of them have been won by women.
Yeah?
Yeah, 2 men.
This one here is going to take a lot of thought.
I want to say something else, but I can't say it in the year. That's for sure. Yeah, that is deep, mate. You've done some research on that one. Yeah.
What you want to do is send people back.
You have something
Because
back.
trivia is about history.
Yeah.
You know,
it's true.
and we often talk about, we want people to know where you came from in order to know where you're going. So we have to pick out things in which people can relate to and figure out how it got started in Bermuda, because things just didn't happen.
No.
So again, one last time, athletics or track and field in Bermuda became first He became the first offshore affiliate of the Amateur Athletics Association of England in what year? So 2929595. Be the lucky winner. 4-star pizza. It's waiting for you.
Wow. Okay. I'm sure the fans will be like before the show's over.
Well, before the show's over.
Yeah. At least put a thought process behind the different answer. So we're just waiting on our first guest to arrive. As you know, weather is definitely playing havoc today with us. Mother Nature is coming first, and you can't control Mother Nature.
Yeah.
So guest.
Were you late for anything yesterday? Because I know there was quite a few people that were late to sporting events because.
Yesterday? Not yesterday. No.
Daylight saving time started yesterday.
Well, yeah. That was I lost my hour.
Yeah. So you had people who did not do their clocks, and of course were an hour late to certain events. So you know how that goes.
Not really, because I can't believe that what you just said. People are all late.
If you forget or just not paying attention, and you wake up and your clock's still saying 8 o'clock and it's 9 o'clock, you don't know the difference until somebody calls you.
You're right, but when you automatically know that you gotta move your clock forward by 1 hour.
That some things are not automatic.
Okay, informative. People have been talking. It's daylight savings time.
Yeah,
It's
but
coming this
you know
Saturday.
something,
Move
Ian,
the
to
clocks
tell you the
ahead
truth?
1 hour.
To tell you the truth, years ago, we used to talk about daylight saving time for a week. Now you hear it the day of.
Yeah.
And if you're one that on Saturday, you don't go anywhere, you haven't listened to a radio, you haven't looked at a television, or you're not looking at a TV station that's going to tell you, oh, daylight saving. If you have no reminders, you're going to forget.
True.
Yeah.
But people nowadays Google the answers.
Well, yeah. They do. They
Cool.
do.
All right. Cool.
Well, I'm just getting a message that our first guests have arrived.
Okay. So let's take a commercial break, and we could bring in our first guest in the studio.
Seemed like years ago, like you were like warned about it about a month.
Right.
Like don't forget the end of the month.
Yeah.
It's, daylight savings time.
And then
And that's a good point.
2 weeks time, every day it was going.
But now they changed it. They moved it 2 weeks ahead, and now 2 weeks back. So I think it ends this year, November 3rd or 4th.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's how it's going to be now. So it's going to be interesting.
That time to gear yourself up for it at least. Okay,
Yeah.
lose an hour.
But it seems like it's more daylight saving now than the normal time we have. Because before it's supposed to be 6 and 6.
5 o'clock yesterday afternoon, the sun was still high.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying, the football game, for example, you're saying at downtown finished at 5:30.
Didn't get dark until what, 5 to 8?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And towards the end of the day, it became overcast, so it could have possibly stayed brighter for later. But as the year goes on, it will. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Especially when it comes around from May to about like August.
Yeah.
May, June, July, and August.
Yeah.
Mercy. It's gonna be like full of sunshine.
Sure.
Like up to like about 9:15.
Some days it does get late.
Yeah.
It'll be 9:15 on
Around August.
later. Yeah.
And Somerset raises the cup. Somerset.
Okay, we're gonna take that commercial break because something's really wrong with it.
Let's take a commercial break and we'll be back after this. That's a good one. That boy said something wrong with him.
And the Center on Philanthropy for the Argus Walks the Walk on Sunday, March 18th. And we'll donate $20 of the $25 entry fee to the local charity of your choice. Register online at racedayworld.com before March 17th, or pick up a registration form at the Center on Philanthropy at 16 Roosevelt
Hey,
Street,
Clark.
Hamilton. Walk the walk and support your favorite
Good
choice.
day. Shalom. How you doing? Yeah, I'd be nuts about it.
Just in time for spring cleaning comes a fragrant, naturally effective solution. Mrs. Myers.
You're looking for a year or a name?
Huh?
A year or a name?
The answer.
Afternoon, fellas.
Hey, good afternoon.
You can give it to him.
Yeah, what's the year?
Okay, what year do you have?
Household scrubs, detergents and cleaners, fragrant botanical liquid and foam hand soaps, scented soy candles, and so much more. Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
Yeah, they're looking for a
What
year.
time is it? It's game time. More opportunities to win.
Easy.
All your sports
takes
betting
you
needs without the road trip. Introducing
91?
Game Time East and
Yeah,
Game
91, no.
Time West. Located next to
Good,
Marshals
no.
and Main Road Sunset by Somerset Cricket Club. All Game Time
Right.
outlets open
The answer second. Don't give it to me, right?
Saturdays 8:30 till 5.
That's why I sent you that joke, right?
For more details,
You don't know, boy.
Second, right.
Yeah, either one, either one.
Okay,
Cool.
Tim.
Yeah.
She's
Can't
way
keep,
off.
you can't keep
so
saying
much.
it to speak. What's the line?
Oh, hang on.
On Power 95 FM with host Ian Rollins and co-host Earl Baker.
And welcome back to Inside Sports Talk Radio. We did have one caller for the trivia question. That answer was well off. So, nope, that's not the answer. 1991. That's what it said.
Quite a ways to go.
Quite a ways to go.
In the opposite direction.
Yeah. Well, joining us in the studio now is Mr. Jacon Adnis, former cup match captain for Summers, the team that has the cup.
Hey, we're here talking about.
I'm just
the
doing an
sports awards,
introduction,
okay?
sir.
Dominant team.
I'm just doing an introduction. Okay.
We're talking about the sports awards.
We are. I'm just doing an introduction of what he does as an athlete.
No, we're here representing the Department of Youth and Sport about the sports awards.
As I was saying, former cup match captain. Man has won the cup 2 or 3 times for Somerset. Three times. Thank you for correcting me. Who still holds the cup in Somerset. All right. He's here to talk.
And you know what's funny,
He's-
Ian?
What was that?
Just like this year, his mic's turned on.
His mic's turned off.
He got,
He's talking. I heard it.
Okay, just making sure.
you heard?
Yeah. He hasn't talked yet because we haven't introduced him. You keep interrupting me.
Okay, I'll shut up.
You gotta. Because someone's got the cup.
Come on.
Mr. Jacon Adnis, Sports and Recreation Administrator. The annual Sports Awards is happening this coming Saturday at the Fairmont Southampton Princess. Just enlighten our listeners what to expect this year.
Mainly a good show. We have Mary Hacks who's really producing the show and making sure it runs effectively and efficiently. We decided to choose to celebrate women in sports this year. There are a lot of talented women on Ireland who are doing a lot of amazing things in their respective sports. We felt that we wanted to continue to encourage them to continue to do what they're doing, but also try to get some more numbers out there, because for one reason or the other, girls tend to stop playing sports once they reach high school. It's a large percentage that do that, so it's about to try to encourage girls, women, females to stay in sports.
There was a time, Jacon, when women's sports was thriving. I'm not saying it's not thriving now, but you're correct regarding it's a drop-off once they leave high school. There was a time when they were thriving, and the Bermuda Netball Association had games on Sundays at in Warwick. I think it was at the Warwick Post Office. They had games down there. I'm just using this as an example. Field hockey was thriving, and various other sports. Yes, more sports have come on board. How can we keep women in sports after high school? What do we got to do to show them the interest is still there?
I think society has changed a bit, so you have to, instead of NSGBs have to get out there, and I'm not saying they don't, some do it more than others, but they have to get out there and identify these girls, or not even the talented, more talented ones, but to just get girls just to stay involved, physically active in sports. They would have to show them that there's a pathway that they can do. They can start off playing recreationally, and if you want to become more elite, this is the route you can go. It can pay for your education, scholarships available out there in a lot of different sports. So it's just about educating young girls to get them to stay in sports. You know, sky's the limit.
Yeah. One of the things that just elaborating on what you're talking about, one of the things that we find from NSGBs is that when leadership changes, the whole idea of what we're going to get out of the sport changes.
Right.
What needs to happen is there has to be a structure put in place for the sports or sport, and then you have a 10-year plan. No matter who the leader is, we follow those plans in order to grow. doesn't that make a little more sense? And that then the girls or even boys, the athletes will see a pathway as opposed to, oh, we're going to do it this way. We'll vote you in, and we're going to do it this way, kind of thing. Because that we see that a lot.
Yeah. As you know, when presidents come in, you know, they have their own visions and objectives that they want to see through.
Right.
That might not agree with the previous administrator.
See that all the time.
Yes, and that is very that's common.
Yeah.
But they would just have to. At the end of the day, it's not about the leader; it's about the sport as a whole, like you said. And if more organizations can organize in 5-10 year plans, have a succession plan. Okay, if you're president, you can add on to these, but let's still, you know, sail along the same. We're not trying to go a completely different route.
Right.
Instead of going, we're still going Somerset, but we might go South Shore this time.
Right.
You understand? So as long as it's a common goal that you have to reach, doesn't change. You know, but that's in an ideal world.
Right.
You know, we don't live in this.
For the spectators who will come out to on Saturday night, what treats will they get there?
An organized show for one.
Right.
That will start on time. But just to be there to recognize all of these amazing athletes that we have on island that are overlooked sometimes. You know, and I'm talking about on island. We know about the big name stars that we have that's representing the island very well. Florida Duffy, Tyler Butterfield, Delray Rollins, to name a few, who are overseas, Nikki Wells.
Right.
But there are a lot on island that are putting in the exact same amount of work who get overlooked because they're not necessarily name brand per se.
Right.
But just to recognize those athletes, you know, keep going.
Right.
You know, don't stop.
Right.
You know, that's the main thing. Have a few performances as well. So it promises to be an exceptional event that recognizes our amateur athletes and also our professional athletes.
What time does this event get underway on Saturday?
7 p.m. Sharp. And
tickets are available?
I've heard you were at Sharp so many times.
Come on, Errol. That's Sharp.
Can't bet you don't even start on time.
Tickets are available.
I can understand why you're saying that, Mr.
It don't. When was the last time it started at 10?
Hey, as you were saying, sir, tickets are available.
2012, 2014, 2016. It's the years we won, I think, or
You asked.
You got 10 after.
Irrespective.
Last year it was 7 minutes after.
That's fine. It just made the game go a little longer.
But that was because of weather conditions last year, right? It rained.
We had the toss one time.
Yeah, but it rained.
Yeah, that's when we won the toss and cried.
But tickets can be purchased at our head office at Craig Appin House. For those individuals who, for any unforeseen reason, can't get to our office, we'll try to have some at the door for purchase, $15. So 7 o'clock at the Fairmount Southampton Amphitheater.
It's kind of unheard of going to an event at South P for $15.
Well,
generally you go to South P.
Yes.
Give Mr. Edmonds and his administrators credit
but that's the point I'm making.
That
you're going to Princess. Anytime you go to Princess there's nothing less than $60-$70 just to get in.
Right.
You know,
well, that's just for Shirley Temple.
Well,
Shirley Temple 60. What is water, 40?
Here you are going to an event that honors administrators, athletes, anybody involved in sports throughout the years, and you get to be in the building that to be a part of it for $15. I don't know if you could beat that anywhere else.
No, you can't.
Credit to them. Credit to them. Maybe 15 this year, but watch out for next year. But credit for them. I mean, getting the price down.
Yeah. To elaborate on that. At the end of the day, it's about showcasing our athletes.
Right.
We don't want to deter anyone from coming, so we try to keep the price as low as possible, so that we could get as much individuals there to recognize our amazing athletes.
There's always talk when someone doesn't get recognized. As the department, how do you manage that type of talk? Because there's always talk that how come the committee didn't pick this person? How come the committee didn't pick that person? You know.
Yes, and that's a fair point. I don't manage that talk. I learned a long time ago that you can't please everyone.
Right.
Everyone has a time, you know, and I've seen instances where an athlete didn't get it one year, but then they got it the following year. So you know, it's all timing, and that's not to take anything from athletes who don't get recognized or didn't get recognized this year or previous years, but the thing is to keep going. There are plenty athletes out there who are doing the exact same thing, and you know, you just have to keep striving, and hopefully you get on next year.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be back with more Inside Sports Talk Radio after this message.
Sports Talk Radio has been
We're going to take the news at 1. So it's recording it twice, just trying to record it.
Okay.
So you got to break away, right?
At 1.
Right. So if Norbert's not, that's fine, but we can go to the news at 1.
Okay, yeah. 'Cause
Right.
that
He's
was
gonna record it. Someone is out front?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I got a few calls about certain people.
We're still live. We're still live.
You know that guy.
Probably better.
There's a lot of time to do this.
From happy beginnings to happy ever after.
We're not ready for you yet.
Let's actually do this a straight read.
Yeah, straight.
But it's gonna.
You can go straight to news first.
You want to come back in a segment? You got about
No.
4 minutes.
That's it. Put the question out there. It's a trivia question.
Yeah. Well, let's just finish with your comments. We already missed
Well,
something.
he's left.
He left. Oh.
You want to go back in?
Yeah. Can you go to promo? Got another promo? Sorry.
Trivia question?
Yeah, it's there, but Jacon had left.
Which one?
Come here. You sit there. Sit down for a quick second.
Yeah. There's about 4 minutes. See.
Right, so 4 minutes to kill.
Yeah.
You guys come in down here. Sorry. Let these guys through.
That's two? You back at 3 minutes? Hey guys, how's everybody?
Cool. Take a seat right there. One sit in that chair, one sit in that chair. I also can give you a question, and then you can, when you're finished, when 1 o'clock comes, go to news after that.
Okay.
What's the question? What
Huh?
was the question you're telling Jacon?
Oh, disappointment. And I'll ask it again. I'll ask it
He
again.
asked the question.
I'll ask it again. Just.
Nothing controversial.
Inside Sports Talk Radio. Inside Sports Talk Radio. With Power 95 FM. With host Ian Rollins and co-host Earl Basin.
And welcome back to Inside Sports Talk Radio right here on Power 95. Joining us now for a brief moment before we break away for the news is the Director of Youth Sport and Recreation, Mr. Norbert Simons. Mr. Simons, I was talking with Jacon Edners before we went to commercial break about it's always disappointment when people don't get nominated after being I want to say people don't get to the final stages of being recognized for their sports, and it's always disappointment. But how do you guys manage that type of disappointment on behalf of, I guess, the sporting body and or the athlete?
Well, it's ironic because I did receive a call from a parent wondering why their nominees was not picked. And at the end of the day, we try not to go into too much detail because we don't want to compromise the decisions of the selection committee. But the challenge is that we always get that, and we have to try to find a way to be empathetic and soften the blow as much as possible. But it's something that we deal with every year. So
right. Now, obviously, as the director, this will be your what number of sports award? You personally?
Earl, as director?
Yes.
This is what 2018.
18.
This will be my 12th one.
12th?
No, actually my 11th, because I started in the middle of 2006.
Oh, okay. How have you seen this, and real quick, how have you seen this special event evolve over these 11 years?
Well, first thing I could say is that what happened was that we discussed with the committee about introducing the Junior Athlete of the Year, male and female, and then to mirror the senior event, we eventually included the Junior Achievement Award as well. So there's been some growth. Where would we like to see it go more? I'd like to see it become an even bigger event. I knew that because of budget cuts and like, many have called for us to scale back the event. But on my watch, to me, this is too important for athletes to be acknowledged, and to denigrate it or reduce it in such a way. So.
Okay. Well, folks, we're going to break away for the news. It'll be up with Tarai Trott momentarily. We'll be back with more Inside Sports Talk Radio after the news this afternoon.
You need the soundbite, Mayor Taiwan.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Tarai Trott with Bermuda Broadcasting News. A death knell for the Royal Bermuda Regiment. That's how former commanding officers are describing the proposed abolition of conscripted national service. The 9 Colonels advocacy group took an active role, you'll recall, in the debate in 2014 as government moved towards an all-volunteer force. The former CEOs argued that it was unlikely sufficient volunteers could be attracted from Bermuda's small and shrinking population to maintain the numbers needed for the regiment to fulfill its responsibilities. The 9 Colonels are speaking out again, saying that the regiment has struggled to make up the numbers in the last 3 recruitment cycles. Lieutenant Colonel Alan Rance, in a statement on behalf of the 9 Colonels, said, quote, "We supported the idea that Bermuda should try to keep up the regiment's numbers by recruiting volunteers. But we thought it would be a mistake to abolish conscription legislatively. We thought that we should try volunteerism by simply changing to a recruitment policy while leaving a possible resort to conscription in our laws. If it didn't work," he says, "conscription would be there as a backup option. That seemed to us simple common sense." And we'll have more on this story in subsequent reports. In other news, Charles Gosling, the mayor of Hamilton, is denying allegations by the Home Affairs Minister that he breached protocol by having talks with a foreign government. In the House of Assembly Friday, Home Affairs Minister Walton Brown Jr. said the corporation invited the Taiwanese government to contact Bermuda's government about a tax information exchange. Minister of Home Affairs Walton Brown Jr. announced his intention to table new legislation that would grant government more control over St. George and Hamilton. How about next? Adventist Fair SOT 1 and 2.
He also had meetings with the Tourism Authority, which I believe has something to do with
Adventist Fair 1 and 2.
Can I see which one is 1 and 2?
One should be like 53 seconds. And how about fish cakes? Fish cakes?
Yeah.
Take the last.
Anybody who knows anything at all about Taipei would know about how well run that particular city is. And while it would be a long way in terms of the future of where this city is today, it's certainly be good for giving some guidance. The administrator at that time, Mr. Shea, gave us approval to go to that. There was later on an invitation for us to go to Miami, which this current minister, he said that yes, we should accept the invitation and go down to Miami for this. We received after that a letter from the Director General asking for this information to be passed on, that the government of Taiwan is interested in making these decisions, and to forward it to the Minister of Finance. It was forwarded to the Minister of Finance. That was the end of anything that we go to today. This has not been shared with anybody. This was a letter that this office received and was asked to be passed on. It was passed on.
Hamilton Mayor Charles Gosling. In other news, the Bermuda Conference of Seventh-day Adventists are calling on the public to turn out for its health fair called 8 Keys to Reversing Obesity and Type 2 Diabetes, taking place on Sunday, March the 18th. Recent data reveals Bermuda has the highest rates of obesity and diabetes in the world. The health fair is free to attend, and Dr. Leonard Gibbons, the church's health ministry's director, believes it is time for the island to do something about the problem.
The best way to tackle it is to change lifestyle. You know, often you look at diabetes but in reality they are symptoms. And the underlying problem in many cases is the lifestyle that created it. So how we eat, how we sleep, how we talk, how we communicate, all of those things impact on the quality of our health. And the weakest point is the one that...
You know what, forget fish cakes. I'll end it after the second Adventist clip. Do a read and
but
goodbye.
most people read horrible things during the day, you know, so the weakest point is where it's evident, but that's not the real problem. The problem is the lifestyle, and if we address the underlying cause, many of the diseases go away.
Adventists around the world are known for their dedication to a healthy lifestyle and diet. It is the church's core principles for healthy living that will be offered to the public on the day in question, in addition to free, healthy food.
One thing we're doing, and this is a prime example of that, we're hosting this health fair, you know, that will take place from 12:30 all the way to 5 o'clock on the 18th. And it's free to the public, and they provide actually giving people a look at the 8 principles of health that we believe are foundational to preventing disease and also helping to restore people.
Brief tag, then go bye-bye.
So that's something that we do, and we do things all through the year. We have, you know, a number of churches around the island, and we have a number of health programs that we invite the community to. Everywhere from cooking classes to exercise classes to, you know, anything to do with lifestyle. And so that's something of what we do as a church.
So this health fair is not just a place where people can turn out to be assessed medically, but to gain some knowledge.
Yeah, that's the whole intention of it. We'll start with sort of a diabetes risk assessment profile. Then we will feed them a healthy, delicious meal that can actually improve blood sugar control and help them with weight loss. And then there will be 2 presentations specifically related.
The voice of Dr. Leonard Gibbons. Again, this event, hosted by the Bermuda Conference of Seventh-day Adventists, takes place at the Bermuda Institute Auditorium in Warwick on March 18th from 12:30 to 5 p.m. I'm Tarai Trott with Bermuda Broadcasting News. Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, gentlemen. Quick temperature check, and we'll be right in.
This weather update is provided by the Bermuda Weather Service, sponsored by BFM.
5 minutes. Low pressure system passing to the west, bringing rain, heavier showers at time, and a continued risk of thunderstorms today into early Tuesday morning. Gale force winds arriving late tonight as conditions rapidly deteriorate as a cold front passes over the Bermuda region. Cool, blustery conditions with a few showers then remain throughout the week as low pressure stalls to the north. Currently, right now, winds from the west-southwest at about 15 miles an hour. Relative humidity is up there. It's at 99%. Some showers still in the Bermuda area. Heavier showers at times as well. Temperature outstanding. 66 degrees in Bermuda. You're up to date with the latest forecast.
This weather update was provided by the Bermuda Weather Service, sponsored by BF&M.
Now, back to Inside Sports Talk Radio. Inside Sports Talk Radio on Power 95 FM with host Ian Rollins and co-host Earl Baista.
And welcome back to Inside Sports Talk Radio on this Monday, March 12th. Again with the trivia question, athletics or track and field in Bermuda became the first offshore affiliate of the Amateur Athletics Association of England in what year? The number to dial is 292-9595. Mr. Simons, back to you. Sports Awards Saturday night, Fairmount, Southampton. I asked Jacan what could people expect, but obviously there's a lot of talk on who the female athlete of the year will be, and obviously there's toss-ups. I've been in some, I wouldn't say conversations, but around some conversations. How interesting was 2017 for our athletes?
Earl, I think it was a really interesting year, but more importantly, I think it was really interesting for our junior athletes who are really coming to the fore as they mature in their sport and get a better understanding of the sport. We've had some really outstanding performances by many of our junior athletes. Some were acknowledged by their organizations and peers, and some were not, which is a little unfortunate, but that's the way it is sometimes. But I think that the real interest will be in the junior section.
Right. Now, we always seem to have an abundance of youngsters competing at various different sporting events, but then there's a drop-off. How is your organization assisting national sports governing bodies in just that general conversation of how do we keep these youngsters engaged?
That's a good question. What we've done over the past years, when we've given a grant, we've asked them to specifically look at the development of the sport, and the development of the sport means looking at trying to providing as much funding that we can to assist with the development of the junior athletes. We recognize that there is a challenge. Our girls seem to drop out of sport at around 15 years old, and our boys usually around 17, 18. And that's because once there's in that in-between bracket between juniors and seniors, there's not much that's being offered to entice and to encourage them to stay in sport. You'll notice that in the female sports, and I believe Jaconda alluded to the fact that our theme this year is developing women in sport in our sports, and that was deliberate.
Right.
Because if you notice that we have a tendency that girls will drop out of sport, but team sports they tend to stay in because it's the nature of socialization. Girls work best in a group.
Right.
And individual sports like track and field and swimming and sailing, we have to really tap into that and try to encourage as many females to be in the sport because there's a socialization process. Boys will thrive on their own in individual sports, but girls tend not to because of that group mentality that needs to exist.
Yeah. Now, we often hear about scholarships for athletes out there for offer because we know, speaking with just track and field alone, there were some 600 or 400 odd female scholarships left on the table last year.
That's across all sports.
Yeah. Are we looking, because you have a conference with national sports governing bodies each year, is that something that you guys have been really harping on, that they get that message out to their athletes, because they touch their athletes every single day?
Well, what we're trying to do and what we've managed to accomplish out of our sports policy was the formation of the Association of National Sports Governing Bodies. We must recognize that 90% or more of our national sports governing bodies are run by people that are volunteers.
Yes.
Who specifically not, because of time constraints, don't really pay attention to a lot of details. They're just more concerned about ensuring that the programs that they put on are run correctly and properly, because you know how critical we can be as a community when things are not going well. So what we're trying to do through the Association of National Sports Governing Bodies is to look at things like that, look at improving the administration of all our sports, looking at what we can do to assist them to grow. What we're hoping to do this year is put on our coaching course in May. It's our goal that will assist our national sports governing bodies to look at things like athletes, look at things about retaining and maintaining athletes. A generic coaching course is not one that will get down to specific details as with football, cricket, track and field, or other sports, but looking at things that we can do to assist our coaches in one, communicating with our junior athletes, how we can best tap into their knowledge base and encourage them to grow and develop. When it comes down to scholarships, I think that there's more that we can do as a department. But more importantly, I think that the key going forward is to increase the level of physical activity and PE in schools, so that our children can be exposed, because that's really the first place they will be exposed.
Right.
And that will not only look at improving the quality of athletes that we have in schools, but in our programs, but we'll also look at dealing with the dietary concerns and the obesity concerns that the health department has stepped on, because I think that what we've done is that, to a degree, that because we've been looking so much to try and develop the intellectual part of our students, we have not looked at the socialization process, and we have not looked at their physical attributes as well.
Now, just a side note before we actually get on with the next guest, you have in studio with you two young men who I guess were announced as part of the Bermuda Carifta team for end of the month?
Yes.
And what events will these two young gentlemen be doing?
Well, with me today, because I'm on my way taking them back to school, is Ryan Outerbridge, who will be doing under 17 boys 1,500 meters and 3,000 meters.
Right.
And Clavante Lodge will be doing the 400 meters and 200 meters at Carifta on the under 17 age group.
Okay. Now they are part of your group with the Pacers.
Yes.
Obviously, you deal with the sprinters, I take it.
Yeah.
And that will be under, Clavante will be under. We've watched him over the last year. What would you say would be his best event? Because obviously we've watched him do the 400, we've watched him do the 200. What would you say right now, if we were going to Carifta tomorrow, which one do you think he would do better?
400.
400.
I think that Clavante has the tools to be one of the best 400 meter runners that we've produced. Just his natural attributes that he's able to. He's very intelligent when it comes to doing track and field. He's extremely intelligent, and I think that he knows how to run the 400 meters. It's just that being committed a little bit more. But I think that right now for 400 meters, but I think that he's going to be one of our athletes who can do both the 2 and the 4 and do them well. We set a goal at the beginning of the season that he was going to qualify. His goal was to qualify for Carifta. I basically said to him that I think he could run a 48.6, and I think he will do it this year at Carifta. But in the 200 meters, I think that once he gets a better feeling for the 200, because he's really comfortable with the 4, once he gets a better feeling for the 200, I think I'll see him popping off 21 next season.
Okay. What about right back?
With the great right back?
Yeah.
Ryan?
Yes.
Ryan is a different beast. Ryan is a young man who has a big heart, and he's very competitive. The 3,000 is his event. He will run the 1,500 meter because he's got that type of heart, and he has that desire to do extremely well, and it augurs well for his future.
All right. Well, gentlemen, I do want to thank you for your time. Congratulations to you two, and good luck at the end of the month. Got some tough shoes to fill. Give on to that 2 and 4. See, your coach struck the wall.
Oh yeah.
Stayed there. We'll be back with Kenny Thompson after this message from our sponsors.
Sports Talk Radio has been
Thank you, sir.
presented by Lindo's
You like putting me on the spot, don't you?
Group International.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right.
Sir.
See you Friday night. Saturday night.
Let's keep on going right.
Yeah.
All right.
See? Yeah. Cool.
Be a lucky loser with our weekly draw. Become a Game Time player. Call into one of our 3 locations in Somerset, Town, or St. George's. For more details, visit GameTime.pm or call 296-3222. Game Time. You play?
And we got a ring.
Oh, no. Chad's telling me you're going to put him on hill because he's going to come.
Spring cleaning comes a fragrant, naturally effective solution. Mrs. Meyer's Clean Day.
Yes, how you doing, Kenny? Yes, Power 95. We're just going to put you on hold 2 seconds, and Earl's all ready for you.
And aromatherapeutic too.
Okay.
Select items from Mrs. Meyer's extensive range of Clean Day products, which includes
Then,
household
when
scrubs,
he talks, can you just put it on the speaker? Yeah, they can't hear.
candles, and so much more. Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
Premier Health is a smart health insurance plan that does most of the thinking for you.
And you got the K-Tech intro.
24/7 worldwide support.
And there are local providers who are registered online.
96% of claims are settled.
Okay, that's for this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got Kenny's number, right?
Yeah, his only line number.
Okay, cool.
So more of your premium goes towards generous benefits.
Premier Health. Smart health insurance feels good.
Call Colonial on 296-3200
Or visit cgigroup.com.
This segment of K-Tech with Kenny Thompson has been brought to you by Lindo's Group of Companies.
And welcome back to Inside Sports Talk Radio right here on Power 95. It's Monday, March 12th. I was about to say November 12th, man.
I saw you going there like
I want the year to be over, man.
Yeah, you speeding, bro.
Well, we have joining us now. This segment is for K-Tech. Kenny Thompson. Obviously, Kenny, we do have the youth program going on. Weather doesn't look too good today, so will the program run this evening?
Actually, there are no scheduled matches until April 9th. So we played all of the matches that we had scheduled up until last week Wednesday. And with the Kappa tournament fast approaching, there was also, I think, another event that's going on at the National Sports Center as well. And then right on the heels of Kappa is the Easter school break. Then we had it in our schedule to break during this period and resume on April 9th. So we just missed the weather.
Well, you lucked out. You must have some lead in with the Mother Nature. But can you give us a synopsis of what's developed so far with this program on Mondays and Wednesdays?
Yes, it's been fantastic. We're getting a lot of feedback from the players, of course, but also from parents who love the concept and love the atmosphere of the competition. So the players, they're loving the idea that they are on a very good surface with night matches and the amazing girls that we have for the competition, set up in a Champions League type format. So they love the idea that they walk out to the Champions League and they go to all the pre-match rituals that they're very familiar with on television. So everything that we've set up is to kind of excite the player and in a competitive environment, but to provide that excitement that the players dream about being a part of as young players. So far it's going really, really well. The under 9 and under 11 nights are absolutely incredible in terms of atmosphere. The under 13 and under 15 drops off a little bit in terms of atmosphere, but those under 9 and under 11 nights have been magical, really, and everybody's having a good time.
Now, you guys have taken time out to make sure you have everything planned out as far as team scheduling, but putting something together like this takes a lot of effort and a lot of thought and a lot of teamwork. I know I've asked you this before, but what is the most important things you guys wanted to do once this got started?
Well, really, we wanted to do this because we believe that football carries a lot of weight. Everybody is passionate about football. The players, they relate to a lot of things that obviously they see on television, and we wanted to bring that sort of atmosphere to a Bermuda competition on a consistent basis. So if we use the example of Kappa is a tremendous event over a weekend. But then what happens the other 10 months that young players should be playing football? So we wanted to put something together that was exciting, that really kind of exceeded players' expectations. And so from that standpoint, everything that we do is with the player in mind, almost to the extent where we're asking the question, if we were playing, if we were young players, what would we want? And basically we want something like this. So we start off with that. It's always football decisions, based on the need of the players, in this case young players, and their development, and to make it really exciting for them. So it's a tremendous undertaking. It took a lot of kind of meetings and sitting down and brainstorming, in particular with Andrew, Henrik, and I, to kind of put the concept together. And now that we have it up and running, it's really, we're really happy with it. There are some other aspects that will take place with regards to making the atmosphere and environment even more exciting for players and fans alike. So, the next step, with people kind of expressing a lot of positives about it now, the next step is going to be kind of blowing people away in a way that, will just make it a great football event and a great opportunity for further development of young footballers in Bermuda.
Now I want to relate how you guys have got this going to what you've been doing at BAA, and we'll look at the senior team right now because you're top of the table in the first division. But this didn't happen overnight. You had to put things in place structurally and then build from that. How long of a process do you think it should take to make sure that all the key components are done right in the lead up to, I guess, what you would call success?
Well, yeah, in general, I think that for optimal player development, you're talking about 10 years, a minimum of 10 years. And so it's important that there's 10 years of consistent and quality development. When Gerard Houllier was here, last week, the week before last, and Jacques is here now with the coach education, and they repeat it often that we have to get it right, especially between 10 and 15 years of age. We have to get the development side of things right for that. And then I'll go a step even further to say that what precedes, it's not like starting work at 10 years old. There's a foundation period that precedes the 10-year-old. So that work has to be done properly from, let's say, as young as minimal 5 and 6 years old, as a foundation, and then really high quality work 10 to 15, and then beyond that, there's still developmental years going on. So you're looking at 10 plus years of quality, and the key is consistent development, because a year lost basically can never be recovered, especially when we're trying to compete with other jurisdictions that might have structures in place now for their players' development. So if we miss a year of player development for individual players, then basically they could never catch up to the players in jurisdictions where they didn't skip a year of optimal and consistent player development. So, you mentioning BAA, what's satisfying for us, and we still have a little bit of work to do now to try to get over the line in terms of getting promoted. But what's satisfying in this case is that the squad, basically a large part of the squad, have been in the program for the years that I've been here at BA, and a good nucleus of them have been kind of in programs that I've had previously, in some cases from as young as 7 and 8 years old. So, for example, when we see a player like Willie Clemens, who has recently signed a contract in Sweden, basically I can say that I've had Willie since he was 10 years old, and so the nucleus of players that we have now that are kind of on the brink of promotion have been in a sort of specific developmental program since they were 10 years old, and then some that maybe came to BA 6 or 7 years ago make up pretty much the entire team. So that's satisfying that in some way we're seeing a little bit of fruit. But before we start celebrating anything, we haven't done it yet. We still have we still have 1 point to get to make sure of promotion. But there are 2 games left, and so we expect that we have to earn that point, and it's not going to be given to us. And but just satisfying to be in a position like this with players that have been pretty much developed by us.
You're part of the Coaches Association, and one of the things that, because I asked Gerard and I asked Jacques yesterday about that being patient. When at a national level they've been involved in national programs that they've taken 10 to 12 years. What are you guys discussing as coaches locally about trying to be patient with programs as opposed to I need to win right away?
Yeah, that's always the balance that has to be struck. We have to look at things from a developmental standpoint, and so winning, on the one hand, winning doesn't mean that quality development is taking place. Mm-hmm. And then on the other hand, quality development doesn't mean that it'll automatically lead to winning in those developmental years. So it's a delicate process, because winning is a part of the development, and losing is also a part of the development. Mm-hmm. And so this is where I kind of stressed over the years now that our young players have to be competing for points, for example, and in competition, because it's a part of the developmental process that we play the game to win. The objective is to win the game. So on the one hand, it's important for the players to learn how to compete. But on the other hand, that as football administrators and coaches and educators, then that can't be the be-all and end-all as well. So, we have to drive the players to learn and to put what they've learned into practice to achieve the goal of winning, but not to the extent where we throw developmental components out of the window in trying to win any football game. So it's a real balance for the coaches, that when coaches understand that there is this balance, that trying to win football games doesn't mean that you throw development out of the window, i.e. just from a perspective of, because you're trying to win a football game, that you leave a 10-year-old on the bench for the entire game because you're so into trying to win this football game. Coaches have to understand that yes, we have to drive the players to be competitive, but also every player has to have the opportunity to learn and to try to develop in that competitive environment as well. And sometimes, it might lead to a loss, which is also part of the development, because that means that maybe a mistake was made, and maybe in that player's mind, and you help that player to realize that, maybe this mistake led to an unfavorable result, and then you try to fix it. But you have to allow the players to make the mistakes in order to fix any issues that they might have. So all of this to say that at the end of the day, it's about the development. It's about managing this level of development. That part of the game is to try to win. A part of the game is that you will lose at times as well. and to use the technical skills that are being learned, the football awareness aspect, one's physicality and mental strength, all to for an achievable goal, and that's to try to win.
All right. Just before we wrap up, any parting words, Kenny?
See that the CONCACAF Nations League is kind of up and running in terms of the structure, and that's great for development as well. So we're talking now about the further development of players in the national team who can only develop on that level by playing matches and by playing meaningful matches, and in this case, playing matches that once it kind of settles into a specific divisions, then each country will be playing in their kind of level group, and their success in that level group then provides the opportunity to go up a level. So I think it's going to be great for football in the region, and from our standpoint, football here in Bermuda, that we have coach education going on, so developing better coaches, and that we have at the pinnacle, the national team is playing more regular, meaningful matches.
Oh, all right, Kenny. Well, thank you very much. We look forward to speaking to you in 2 weeks' time. They will give you 2 weeks to savor on this opinion or question from me, and you can answer it in 2 weeks' time. Can we see you back involved in the national program? Because now we see some future as far as it comes to meaningful games, but you can answer that in 2 weeks' time. All right, have a good day. We'll be back with more Inside Sports Talk Radio after this commercial break.
Thanks for joining K-Tech with Kenny Thompson. Brought to you by Lindo's
Vicky's
Group
here.
of Companies.
You can have it? You sure? Because
Ask anyone raising children.
Both of them, sir?
Juice Company, a family business, has been
Hey, did they get trivia question right?
That's premium juices since 1935. Liquid fresh pressed juices provide antioxidants, dietary fiber, vitamins, and minerals with no additives or artificial ingredients. Try Lakewood Original Coconut Mango and Cranberry Blends, Pure Blueberry, Pomegranate, and Carrot juices, and more. Plus Lakewood Aloe Vera. Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
What time is it? It's game time. More opportunities to win. All your sports betting needs without the road trip. Introducing Game Time East and Game Time West. Located next to Wahoo's in St. George's and Main Road, Somerset by Somerset Cricket Club. All Game Time
Patrick and all the boys in the hallway just now. He is standing there while you're talking about people in there.
Or call 296-3222.
Let me
Game
go off to your
Time. We play, we pay. Game Time is a socially responsible gaming establishment.
Premier Health is a smart health insurance
This is the last
plan
one?
that does most of the thinking
Got
for
one more?
you.
With
one
online
more.
verification, eligibility, and direct billing.
7 out of 10 claims are now received electronically,
6 out of 10 claims are settled automatically.
leaving you more time to
Yeah, that's coming
focus
down
on the
the hall.
choice
So, yeah,
of
one more.
care you deserve.
Premier Health. Smart health insurance is good.
Call Colonial on 296-3200.
I just got to post this.
What time is it?
We'll catch you
Game
next
Time.
time.
More
Alright, see you later.
opportunities.
Hey, Harold. How are you? Oh, it's cold in it. What do you guys got? This is a refrigerator.
We call it the meat locker.
Yeah, it's like a
Look dry.
I'm in the car today. I had to go grab the car from Karen. You know what? I was just talking to Patrick. You should have been there. Somebody should have been filming it at Summersfield this morning. They brought 10 ex-Olympians, Commonwealthers all together to salute the kids and stuff.
Yeah.
But Patrick was one, but Karen was there.
Oh, okay.
Like, it was a who's who. She said it was Tucker Murphy and Patrick. And Jay, like, everyone who's been to the Olympics for Bermuda, it seemed like, or the Commonwealth Games, it was around. Carlos Simons sort of set this all up. They should have had it. That's a good thing to publicize.
Just opportunities.
If you don't know,
They don't think about it.
I'll tell you about it.
Now, back to Inside Sports Talk Radio. Inside Sports Talk Radio. With host Ian Rollins and co-host Earl Mason.
And welcome back to Inside Sports Talk Radio. Now joining us is the segment for the World Triathlon Series that will take place in Bermuda in just over a month's time. And we have in studio Aaron Smith and Vicky Abraham. Good afternoon, folks.
Good afternoon, Earl.
Good afternoon.
Lovely weather we're having. If we could get it all out of the way to this time, and hopefully on that weekend we could have clear and sunny, bright skies to show the world what Bermuda can offer as far as a venue for a triathlete.
Definitely.
We've already ordered the weather. It's all good.
Oh, okay.
Yep, that
All
part's
right.
taken care of.
Okay, alrighty.
Yeah.
What
right
stages are we in now as far as preparation?
Well, I just passed the countdown clock coming here. Countdown clock at the flagpole shows 45 days and some hours till the opening night, anyhow, the Thursday night. So we're into that 45-day period where...
Has the nerves kicked in yet?
Well, you know, the good news, I think, is I believe the team's been really well positioned for going on a year now as far as preparation. So the everything's going as planned. What we'd love to see now is, frankly, more people signing up to participate. We've got a few hundred, but we want to see, you know, we could take a few hundred more, not just from overseas, but locally, and that's part of what we want to talk about today. And the other part on numbers, just getting people out there, is volunteers. It's an area that I'm overseeing, and again, we have a couple hundred volunteers, and we need a couple hundred more. So I'm not too worried with 45 days to go, but we want to keep reminding people. Come out and participate, and if you can't participate, come out and volunteer and spend some time around a lot of elite and age group triathletes.
Vicky, how significant it is to have as many volunteers as possible?
Well, you know, it serves two purposes. One, obviously, is to serve the event, so that's really important. And the other is for people to be involved in that way, because there's so much more you get out of it by volunteering than, for instance, by spectating. You know, you're a part of the action, you're right up front, you're meeting and greeting, and you know, some of the roles include going to the airport or being at hotel desks and welcoming athletes, whether that's elite athletes or visiting international athletes who travel the world doing these circuits. And there's so many other options and opportunities for volunteers. So really, I'd say that's really the way to go, to experience, fully experience.
If you're not taking part by competing, it's another way to be involved.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Now, when can we start to see things taking shape? Now, we know the roads are being paved, but I'm talking about the actual venue, platforms being put up, you know, just decorating the atmosphere. When can we start seeing that? That's
going to be the week of. Really, we'll start seeing some blue carpet being laid down in some places you'd never expect, including Queen Street.
Oh, okay.
But that'll obviously happen very close to the Saturday. April 28th being the main event for the MS Amran World Triathlon Bermuda, and then obviously there's the lead-up events. So the schedule's out now; it's all online, and it all starts on the Thursday night with a special triathlon-themed harbour nights and pasta party. That's from 7 p.m. and then on the Friday night, a kids race at 7 p.m. sponsored by TMR, and a feather mile, BHW Bermuda Carnival style feather mile on the Friday. So
sponsored by Digicel.
Sponsored by Digicel, thanks. Yeah. So by then, we'll really start to see the event stage, and some of those final tweaks will be still happening on those days.
For the volunteers' standpoint, obviously some sections of the race course need to double up and probably triple up because of the flow of traffic or just the flow of people that will congregate in those areas. Where do you guys envision will be spots in which you're going to need more kind of field volunteers than you would need like transition volunteers.
Yeah. Well, the good news is in town, the majority of the course is going to be fenced.
Yes.
So it's not that it's going to be needing to keep people off the roads. The roads will be, I mean, unless you're prepared to start jumping barriers,
right.
The roads won't be passable. There will be strategic locations for people to walk and get access, so it'll be fenced, but there'll be gates, and we're going to need volunteers at those areas to let the flow of traffic go at opportune times. You know, we're very fortunate. We're going to have the regiment as a major element of our volunteers.
Right.
Unfortunately, their overseas tour, which was supposed to start that weekend, was postponed.
Right.
I'll use the term as opposed to canceled.
Right.
And therefore, that's our benefit. We'll be able to use many of them in some of their more strategic spaces, like where there might be hot spots of traffic.
Right.
Because there's still going to be. We're trying to be. Have the minimum amount of interference on town, you know, as first Saturday as possible. So keep traffic flowing where it can flow, but make sure that it's safe for the competitors and safe for everybody else. So the volunteer schedule we've highlighted, it really is dotted almost right around. There's no point more than another. It's almost just circle the perimeter, and I think. The hope is that with that strategy, we'll be able to manage, you know, traffic flow on and off of the course quite well.
Now, for folks that might want to be involved, especially volunteering, what are some of the things you're asking the volunteers to do? And you might be able to gain one or two from this what you're about to say.
I hope so. That's what we need to do.
Yeah, there's such a variety, and probably between us we can come up with just a few of them from the top.
There are 36 roles, I know that, that we have highlighted.
All right. Well, you mentioned meeting and greeting at the airport, you've mentioned at the hotel, but on race day, what are some of the things that they will actually be challenged with?
Well, so the road marshals we just touched on, and those are the majority of them. People that are making sure that just the roads are clean and there's not people on them. I just met with the medical advisor before this, Dr. Annabelle Carter, and she was telling me she needs a small group of volunteers that are associated with the medical treatment. They're not going to be applying it. There's professionals for that, but there are elements of just making sure there's flow that happens in the medical tents. Water delivery. We have water on the courses at the aid stations that needs to be handed out. That's one that's usually a little bit more technical, and you may be comfortable handing water to a fast-moving athlete, but that's an example.
There's the media center. We're going to need people, obviously, as we've experienced in other large-scale events, there's a special place for the media to work from, as well as being on the race, so there's a couple of points there, and we'll need people to man that, to be kind of a Bermuda concierge, to be able to help the visiting media to find great restaurants or just how to get from A to B. That's a key point. And to that point, the CTAs, the Bermuda Tourism Authorities, certified tourism ambassadors, we're reaching out to them because we think they'd be an ideal audience to volunteer again. And what's different about this and the previous big event that we had last year is the time commitment. It's such a small time commitment, and that makes it so much more accessible. So even if people just have half a day to give, they're really going to get a lot out of it, and we're really going to get a lot out of it, and that's what we really appreciate. It's not long hours week after week. So some of the other things, I guess, there's a really exciting opportunity only for a handful of people at the medal stage, helping to hand out the medals. Could you imagine? So really, it goes full spectrum. That's the way. Nothing but the gold on floor.
When can we see the elite names out? What's the deadline that we should be really looking for that?
Asking.
And then the other question is, what is the deadline for everyone else to sign up to be a part of it?
So from an elite perspective, the ITU are very regimented in that. It's 30 days. 30 days before the event, they put out the list.
So week after next.
15 days to go, 2 weeks, yes. So that'll be exciting. As far as the age groupers, there's a couple things, and I think we would love to see March 31st as a deadline for people to sign up. That's
Right.
basically the same 30-day time frame.
Right.
Certainly from overseas, I think you're going to have people's commitments by that time.
Right.
It's difficult to make your travel arrangements within that time frame. For locals, you know, that's when we'd love to see it too, but we know sometimes those other forces are at work that
Right.
make people procrastinate a little. But no, I mean, to make the event really a success, to ensure that everyone who signs up gets all the goodie bags and the gifts and the wonderful things that we have planned for everybody. End of March would be an ideal time.
Yeah, it would be ideal. April 7th is the hard stop.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm going to let that out of the bag.
Okay.
April 7th is the hard stop, but we would really much rather people sign up before that. And it seems like a long way in front of the event, but as Aaron mentioned, there's a lot to do with that many participants. And, you know, don't wait for the weather. Don't wait to find out what the weather's going to be, because it will definitely be too late once you know what the weather's going to be.
Right.
You will have missed out. And this is a once in a unique opportunity, we'll call it. It's not once in a lifetime, because we've got next year, but
and the year after that. Yeah. But the group that is putting this together, the local organizing committee, how structured is that? Because everybody has different things to do, and you're probably doing with your group over here, and so how often do you guys meet together to make sure that the logistics are all coming together from different areas?
Yeah, so there have been and continue to be scheduled bi-weekly meetings, conference calls that because some of the people, a lot of this group, although they're part of the local organizing committee, some of them are in remote parts of the world. Some groups that have been doing these things in other places. So we meet that regularly. We communicate daily through emails and WhatsApps and the like. But you're right, it was well formulated into subsections. Again, you know, Phil Schmidt is sort of the general manager of this thing, brought together a lot of people who have done things like this before, so that was the good news. And and he's making sure we all communicate together. On top of it, layered on top now is the ITU working committee, and I get the benefit of being able to sit on both because of the roles I'm playing.
Right.
And that's also a fairly well-oiled machine that meets also every 2 weeks. Although I think they want to start meeting weekly leading up, because they're into the details of the physical race, not just the structure of that around it. So. Probably not unlike the AC, I hate to use the old terms again, but the ACBDA and the ACEA.
Yeah.
We've basically got those two things going on almost together, and they're functioning quite well together.
Now,
and I appreciate that question, because I think a lot of people don't realize what goes into an event of this magnitude.
Yeah. Now, obviously, we had the disappointment of Flora, the crash 2 weeks ago. Where have we identified on our course of those possible same scenario?
Well, it's funny you should ask that. So that was actually the reason Annabelle Carter contacted me, that our medical doctor for the race, because she said, "Did you realize there are 13 90-degree turns on this course?" She went out and I guess counted them. I'm taking her word for it. That was, and she just said, if we had a day like today, that could be a problem. And her request is that we have radioed volunteers at all those 13 spots as an example to help just indicate if anything should go wrong.
Right.
But for the most part, the good news is we're watching obviously you mentioned that roads are being resurfaced and fixed up a little bit. We're not racing on a race course, which they did in Abu Dhabi, unfortunately, which I guess oil patches and things must have just claimed more victims than they anticipated on a wet surface. We believe we have a safe course. It's for the elites. It's condensed and only has, as she said, it's almost no 90-degree turns. It's very quick. It's almost like a circular track for them. But for the age groupers, the good news is they tend to be less aggressive.
Yeah.
The bad news is they may not have as much experience.
Right.
So we're, but we've done races in town before, and it's rare to have incidents. And for the one or two, scrapes and bruises you might get, we're always being able to manage them.
Yeah. Now, for you personally, you sit on the executive of the Bermuda Triathlon Association.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another hat.
That's what I'm getting at. You're juggling so much right now. How are you managing? You must be about ready to.
Don't ask that question. I don't want to know the answer.
again, I think because things have been done over such a good period of time, and there's so many other individuals. The BTA, the Bermuda Triathlon Association, hasn't had to. I mean, our role was by making sure people like me and others like Alec, yes, have participated and are part of the other teams, and then we feed back.
Right.
We haven't had to get to Patty Petty as an example. Make sure that she's out there,
right,
and being with the officials.
Yes.
And that's really the nature of how we're involved.
Right. Wouldn't you have liked to have a triathlon prior to this one?
You mean
a local one?
A local one this year?
Yeah.
This is the earliest we've probably.
I know.
Just to get things sort of
loosened
up.
I mean, what we consider not actually on the course, but just a triathlon to. If there was going to be someone that wanted to sign up for the event, they could have possibly tried a small one. You know.
Yeah.
I know things happen a lot faster than a year went fast.
Yeah.
You know, and when you get this, and you're looking at your regular schedule, and then, you know, it's because you're so focused on making sure that this is run correctly, because we have 2 more years of it. You want to minimize as many mistakes as possible this time to make next year even bigger and better. You know, so obviously it'll be a lot of pressure on you guys after this one is over, because people will be looking to do the local ones.
Yeah. And they'd want to see that type of same level. I think it's a pretty smart group that we have locally, and they understand. No, you know, this is the first one of the season, and for the overseas visitors, I think that's a good thing to have. So this, for the most part, I'm going to say the majority of these folks would not have done, if they're from the Northeast, they would not have done a triathlon yet this year. So in a way, it's nice to have this as their kickoff event. And you know, we could technically do them all year round in Bermuda, but we using this as our kickoff's not a terrible thing.
No, not at all.
And putting all the focus on that, and then having a nice, successful local season after that.
One more question before we go. Over the 3 years, are they all pretty much in the same month? Are they around this time or next month, April?
In April. So that will be determined by the ITU, but we're anticipating that it will be around the same time of year.
Okay.
It wouldn't be confirmed until
the end of the year when they do their scheduling. Well, the good thing is hopefully people won't have to travel from over that side to come to this side to go back to that side. How's that?
Yeah. You're referring to the Commonwealth
Games, yes.
It won't be that far. And by the way, for what it's worth, the Commonwealth Games, that list was just published today. Tyler texted me and said, list is out.
List is out, yeah.
37 men and 25 females. So that's going to be an exciting lead up to our race for at least Commonwealth athletes.
That's right.
And hopefully a handful of them will come here, and you'll get to see up close these athletes who you would have watched.
Yeah, challenging field, lined by Bermuda flags. How's that?
Yeah, let's see that.
Yeah. And awesome. A wall of noise.
Oh,
yeah. On Flora's request.
Okay. All right. Any parting words before we wrap up?
I just wanted to mention to people that they can go to the website, trybermuda.com, TRI, bermuda.com, and have a special look at the drop-down menu on the event info that talks about the team relay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a great way for people to get in if they're not really confident about doing the full thing. It's if you can run 5K, you're in the game.
Right. Perfect. Challenge your coworkers. Challenge somebody else's coworkers.
And if you're not going to participate, volunteer. And if on that same website, trybermuda.com, is the volunteer drop down, and it's really, we just ask for your basic information, and then you'll hear from us. We've got a training session. We're going to plan for in 2 weeks, March, I think it's 20 something. I won't say the date, but it's a Saturday.
25th.
It's a Saturday. Yes.
24th.
Yeah,
March 24th.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, March 24th.
And that's one training date. We'll probably do another one in April, just before the event, but we want to get as many people to that one as possible.
Right, because the training dates for the youth are the 25th and April...
There's one on the 18th.
18th,
Sunday
yes,
for the
Sunday,
youth
yes.
training at National Sports Centre, and then April 22nd.
Second, something like that, yeah.
And one in between somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
you've got it all down.
Yeah. I can remember just a few days. Yeah. Well, folks, we want to thank you for joining us on Inside Sports Talk Radio. We're looking forward to our conversation next week. Obviously, more information about the World Triathlon Series that will take place in Bermuda, even the Thursday night, Friday night, into Saturday. So we look forward to any more information you can give to the public here. And hopefully we get some people volunteering or taking part.
Great. Thanks, Earl.
Fantastic. Thanks.
And we'll be back after this brief message from our sponsor.
Importance of fruit juice cannot be overestimated.
Yeah, I saw that. Funny enough, I saw that list because I get messages.
Oh, you must have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, man. Okay.
Yeah. Just came out today. Tyler said. I haven't even looked at it yet.
Yeah.
So it was there. Yeah, if you're well connected, I don't have to tell anything. You should be telling us what's happening.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
so
thanks.
Tyler's in Weird this weekend.
Oh yeah, so he's going to do a race in Spain.
Oh, okay.
No, Canary Island. I call it Canary Island, but Gran Canaria.
Right.
Gran Canaria, big race. Full field, 70 guys, 7-0. So that's the most you can put in any elite race.
You're in a good place.
And I'd like
right here.
they don't even fill up,
I had to fight it.
World Cups like that. Right. So but this was his prep race for it. So keep an eye on him. I think it's on Saturday.
Yeah.
See you no more than me. Take care. Nice to see you. All right.
Okay. Thanks.
See you later.
Appreciate it.
From happy beginnings to happy ever after.
Colonial protects your lifestyle with the best insurance cover at the best possible price.
I haven't seen her in ages.
Mention benefits.
It's whack with her out there.
Yeah.
Low-cost life insurance.
And individual health cover.
Security in retirement.
With a custodian pension plan.
For happy beginnings and a happy ever after.
Visit cgigroup.com or call 296-3700.
Colonial. Let people come first.
You're up to Power 95, Bermuda's big station, at 94.9 FM, a Bermuda Broadcasting Company station.
Now, back to Inside Sports Talk Radio. Inside Sports Talk Radio on Power 95 FM with host Ian Rollins and co-host.
And welcome back to Inside Sports Radio, Sports Talk Radio, right here on Power 95. Today, March 12th, we've come to the end of a very interesting afternoon. Pouring rain outside. We've had guests in here that have been dry, so we never got an answer to the trivia question, which was athletics or track and field in Bermuda became the first offshore affiliate of the Amateur Athletics Association of England in what year? So we'll have to carry that on next week.
I saw a few folks calling when we were on live, so I
Right.
know that they were calling in reference to the trivia.
Oh, okay, well, we will carry this question over to next week. I want to thank you.
Usually post the trivia as well on the website as well. Oh, okay, just on air.
Just on air, because too many people will go. It's a Googling. Well, I want to thank you for your time, sir. You've been
always a pleasure to help out, guys.
Indeed, and folks, we want to say have a good afternoon from the Inside Sports Talk Radio right here on Power 95. We'll see you next week, Monday.